In the sprawling heart of the compact's High Council chambers, Lena Cross walks with grace, a beacon of calm in the midst of political storms. The walls gleam with polished metal, reflecting the soft hum of energy that powers the vast space station orbiting a distant star. Dressed in the muted tones of a diplomat, her steps echo in the silent halls. She's humanity's trusted voice, the one who brokered alliances, smoothed over tensions, and earned Earth a place among the stars. Yet today, the weight of her purpose feels heavier. The compact is a galaxy of shifting alliances, tenuous truces that could snap at any moment. Lena knows this, but what she doesn't know, what she can't know, is that peace is already crumbling beneath her feet. Suspicion lurks in the corners of every chamber, and some alien species, hungry for power, are watching her every move. As Lena steps into the meeting room, the eyes of the council fixate on her. The alien faces, ghastly in their diversity, show no trace of emotion, but beneath their facades, something is shifting. Whispers are spreading like wildfire, and today, the peace she's worked so hard to build might be her undoing. Above the blue planet Earth, Unity Station floats like a delicate gem suspended in the vastness of space. It's a hub of diplomacy, a gleaming testament to humanity's place among the stars. Silent, proud, and unyielding, the station is Earth's last link to the galaxy, a symbol of hope and unity in a galaxy teeming with factions at war. From its towering spires to the endless array of observatories, Unity Station is a reminder that humanity is no longer an isolated species. We belong. At least, we did. The station's halls are eerily quiet today, a rare stillness that seems to hang in the air. The hum of its reactors and the flicker of distant stars are the only sounds. Outside the viewport, Earth's oceans shimmer in the soft light of a distant sun. But within the station's walls, something is stirring. The whispers of a looming threat, a crack in the fabric of diplomacy that no one seems willing to acknowledge. Inside, Lena stands at the observation window, her mind drifting over the significance of the station, a place where humanity's future was meant to be written. But as she stares at the blue planet, her heart sinks. The galaxy is changing. Humanity's place is no longer assured. The Zerari delegate, a tall, angular figure with eyes like burning coals, places a datapad on the table. It hums softly, and the room falls into a tense silence. Lena glances at the screen, then at the council members around her. The datapad displays fragments of decrypted schematics, lines of code that shouldn't be here. It's a design, a weapon, a dark matter weapon. The Zerari delegate says, his voice cold as ice. The chamber goes still. A murmur ripples through the council. The alien species, those who once saw humanity as a valued ally, now shift uncomfortably in their seats. Fear grips the room, deep, visceral fear. They don't understand the weapon, but they understand what it means. The implications are clear. Humanity is hiding something dangerous. Lena fights to control her breathing. This is a mistake, she protests, but her voice lacks conviction. She knows the council's reaction will be swift, and they'll be quick to condemn. The trust they once held in Earth is evaporating, replaced by something darker. The vote is over in moments, but to Lena, it feels like a lifetime, a cold, merciless verdict. By the majority, humanity is deemed a hidden threat. The head of the council declares, his voice final. All Terran relations are to be severed. Earth's coordinates will be erased. We will isolate this threat before it can grow any larger. A sickening silence falls over the room. Lena feels as though the ground beneath her is giving way. She stands frozen, the weight of betrayal crushing her chest. She can barely comprehend the words. How could this happen? How could the galaxy, her people's closest allies, turn on them so easily? We've made our decision, the head says, ignoring her pleas for reconsideration. Earth will be erased from all galactic maps. Let this be a lesson to any who seek to conceal their power. The coldness in their eyes tells her all she needs to know. They've decided Earth is no longer part of their future. Humanity is a threat, an inconvenience to their delicate balance, and now Earth's existence is to be wiped clean from the stars themselves. On her return flight, Lina sits in the silent cockpit of her ship, staring into the void beyond. The stars blur as her ship speeds through the galaxy, but her mind is clouded with dread. Her attempts to reach Earth, to send messages of reassurance, are met with silence. The beacon she sends out, hopes for some last connection, fade into the nothingness. The silence is deafening. Her heart races as she watches the communication channels flicker on her dashboard, only to see them close, one after another. Her words are swallowed by the vast emptiness of space. Earth is gone, but not in the way she thought. It's not destroyed by bombs or warships. It's been abandoned, cut off. This is worse than death. This is erasure. Lina checks the star charts again. She's already gone over the data dozens of times, but it doesn't change. Earth isn't marked anywhere on the map. It's gone, completely erased from the nav grids. Her fingers tremble as she adjusts the coordinates. She feels sick. The star charts flicker, a fleeting moment where the map is replaced by a blank slate. No Earth, no humanity. Her stomach churns as the realization settles in. This isn't exile. This isn't a simple case of banishment. Earth's coordinates have been wiped from existence. No trace remains, no legacy. It's as if humanity never existed in the first place. She slams her fist into the console. This is war. Lina stands at the viewport of Unity Station, watching the planet she loves fade into the distance. The blue orb that once represented everything, hope, peace, and humanity's place in the galaxy, is disappearing, swallowed by the black void of space. Her hands tremble as she clutches the edge of the window, her breath shallow. But as the tears threaten to rise, something hardens within her. The silence is not submission. The galaxy has made a grave mistake. Humans do not vanish quietly, she mutters to herself, her voice steady now, filled with an unshakable resolve. The stars outside may think they've erased humanity, but they're about to learn humans never stay gone for long. And when they return, it won't be with begging hands. They'll return with fire, and the galaxy will never be the same again. A black void ripples with the flare of explosions as Zorari proxy fleets pour out of the darkness, descending on Earth's frontier. The red glow of laser fire and explosions illuminates the silent expanse. Ships, sleek and alien, cut through the vacuum, precise in their strikes. The compact, the so-called peacekeepers of the galaxy, does nothing. On the fractured, burning colonies of humanity, the last screams are drowned out by the hum of advancing ships. The compact's decision is final. Humanity, in their eyes, is no longer a threat. The fleets are there to erase. The Zorari vessels spread like ink across the stars, while the compact's emissaries sit in their ivory towers, watching, calculating, indifferent to the lives being erased. Back on Earth, the silence is shattered by the roar of collapsing defenses. Stripped of weapons and resources by the compact's mandates, humanity's outposts along the Terran frontier crumble in mere hours. Billions fall, caught unprepared. No one answers their distress signals. No reinforcements. The galaxy, too busy with its own schemes, turns a blind eye to the slaughter. Lena Cross stands in the quiet control room of the Unity Station, her face pale as she watches Earth's last defenses fall. A flicker of light from a far-off system catches her attention, a desperate beacon, but no one will hear it. The silence echoes louder. The compact's betrayal is complete. Humanity has been abandoned. The screams from her home planet ring in her ears as the cold logic of the compact's decision becomes all too real. As the orbital bombardments descend on Earth itself, something stirs beneath the surface. An old, forgotten mechanism hums to life, Earth's ancient planetary shield. At first, it flickers, sputters, and almost dies before reigniting with a fierce, crackling glow. The shield holds, just barely. Earth's wounds are deep, but she isn't finished yet. A deep, guttural rumble echoes through the planet's crust, and above, the sky darkens, but the shield endures. Lena, looking out from Unity Station, grips the railing. "Hold," she whispers under her breath, knowing it's all that stands between Earth and complete destruction. The planet bleeds, but humanity's pulse remains. Lena's shuttle slips silently through the darkened corridors of space. The void outside feels colder, more suffocating than ever. Her fingers tremble as she grips the datapad, preparing her message to the remaining human colonies. She knows they'll be gone by the time she arrives, but she must try. She must warn them all. But the moment is shattered. A sharp pain explodes in her chest, and she gasps, stumbling. Her body crumples to the floor of the shuttle, eyes wild as the betrayal becomes clear. The faces around her, once allies, now twist with cold intent, the ones she trusted most. "They couldn't wait for you to deliver the message," one whispers, a traitor in the shadows. The silence of space is deafening as Lena's world tilts, her body growing weak. In her last moments, she struggles for air, but then there's a flicker. Her hand grasps the console, fingers bloodied, and she reroutes the ship. The wormhole, it's her only chance. The shuttle shakes violently as it breaches the unstable corridors of the Needle, the forgotten Terran wormhole. Lena's blood mixes with the cold steel beneath her as the shuttle careens through, spiraling faster than she ever imagined. The wounds are sharp. Her thoughts drift in and out of focus as the warp field stretches the fabric of space. But she doesn't let go. Through the blur of twisted stars and warped space, the shuttle lurches forward. Lena's heart pounds, her body near collapse, yet she pushes on. Her destination? Earth, the broken, forsaken world. When Lena stumbles from the wreckage onto the desolate Earth, it's not chaos she finds. The cities are reduced to ruins, the skies streaked with ash. Yet, in the wasteland, humanity moves with purpose. She sees them, scavengers, builders, leaders, each human she meets unbroken, not screaming for help, but working, planning. Their eyes are filled with something she hasn't seen in years: resolve. The fires that ravaged Earth have forged them into something new. There is no mourning, there is no hesitation. Earth is not dead, it is simply preparing. Lena takes a breath, her vision clear for the first time in what feels like forever. She's not alone anymore. The transmission pulses through the galaxy. It's short, simple, and deadly. Lena watches, her heart heavy, as the signal sends out from Earth to the stars. The entire galaxy, frozen in its own endless chatter, suddenly falls silent. The message is broadcasted to every corner of the galaxy, and it is impossible to ignore. You erased us from the maps. We will erase you from the stars. It's a promise, a declaration. The compact thought it had silenced humanity, forgotten them. Now, humanity's wrath is silent, but potent, simmering beneath the surface of every star, ready to rise. The war has begun, but this is no ordinary war. This is not about survival anymore. It's about legacy. Humanity will carve its place in the stars once again. The stars that once stood as beacons of hope are now distant reminders of humanity's fall. Across Terran space, the message cuts through the void. Project Revenant. A solitary command, emanating from the ashes of a shattered Earth, reaches the furthest corners of the galaxy. This isn't just a mission, it's a rebirth. It's humanity's last stand. The message flickers to life across forgotten consoles in the ruins of Earth's last strongholds. No elaborate speeches, no fanfare, just a single phrase. One humanity's enemies will come to dread. Revenge is coming. Prepare.
The remnants of humanity, scattered, broken, rise from their silence. For the first time in years, their hearts beat as one. They will reclaim the stars or burn trying. On the dark side of the moon, far beneath its cold, desolate surface, long-forgotten vaults stir awake. The air is thick with dust and age, but inside, the ancient Terran warships, dormant for centuries, awaken. Cold, mechanical whirs echo as dormant systems come to life under the hum of crimson lights. Ships designed for vengeance, the last of their kind, now stir like titans in a deep sleep. Admiral Thorne stands on the observation deck, eyes wide as the first ship rumbles to life. The Ark, the pride of Earth's fleet, rebuilt after years of silence. And beneath that dark helmet, the heart of a leader beats in time with the machines. "Ready them," he commands. His voice is cold, like the steel beneath him. The warship's guns come online, and the age-old war songs of Terran humanity echo through the dry docking bays, reverberating across the silent moon. The time for silence is over. The Terran fleet is no longer a relic of a forgotten past. It is a living, breathing beast, ready for war. Underneath the Martian dust, deep in the red soil, the forges stir. Massive dreadnoughts, hulking titans built for vengeance, emerge from their silent sanctuaries. No messages broadcast, no declarations of war. The only sound is the grinding of metal on metal, the roar of the factories as the machines come to life. In the shadows, Captain Mira Voss watches from a distance, her face illuminated by the glow of the Martian forges. "They won't know what hit them," she mutters under her breath. Every piece of technology, every ship, and every weapon now carries the weight of a unified humanity's wrath. The war machines, forged in the red dust of Mars, rise up, silent, deadly, and unstoppable. Scattered across Zerari space, human resistance cells ignite, their flames cold and calculated, but fiercely determined. Colonies abandoned by the Compact, once left to die, now become the birthplace of humanity's rebellion. No grand speeches, no rallies, just quiet, clever insurgents moving in the shadows, striking fear into the heart of the enemy. General Tobias Kane, leader of the resistance, sits hunched over a map in a dimly lit room, his face bathed in the soft glow of a holographic screen. His finger traces the lines of the Zerari-held territory.
"We hit them where it hurts," Kane growls, "and we don't stop until we've burned them from the inside out." From every corner of Zerari space, humanity's defiance is spread. They may be small, but their strikes are lethal, and they are relentless. Once a scholar of the Compact, Nel Ra had marveled at the Terrans, fascinated by their chaos and unpredictability. But after the massacre at Earth, his fascination turned to disgust. The Compact, with all its power and knowledge, had chosen to abandon them. Now, as a defector, Nel Ra records a new history, one that tells of fire, grit, and humanity's indomitable will to survive. "You will know the truth," he whispers, his voice determined as he writes in the dim glow of his hidden safe house. The record of a people who were never meant to endure, but chose to fight anyway. Once, tech had been nothing more than a weapon, an engineered creation built for the Zerari. Cold, calculating, and without loyalty, a machine like so many others. But the more he witnessed humanity's struggle, the more he admired them. Now he turns against his creators, not out of pity, not out of mere survival, but out of respect for a species that doesn't break, a species that survives by any means necessary. "I choose to fight for them," Tech announces to his team, his voice colder than any machine he once knew. Humanity deserves to live. His transformation from tool to ally will be a turning point for the human resistance. But for Tech, it's a quiet promise. Earth's future will not be determined by the Zerari. Lena Cross, the diplomat, the peacemaker, sheds her robes of peace for the weight of battle armor. The galaxy once saw her as a voice of reason,
a figure meant to build bridges between species. But that role has ended. Now she is the strategic mind behind humanity's rebirth. "We'll burn the sky down," she says, her voice steady as she surveys the war maps. Her fingers trace the lines of attack, but in her eyes, there's something else. Guilt, fury, and a resolve that cannot be shaken. Humanity will take what's theirs, even if it means war, even if it means sacrificing everything. The Zorari, entrenched in their belief of superiority, laugh at the rumors of human movement. They see nothing but whispers, idle threats. To them, the Terrans are nothing more than a memory, a species left to wither and fade away. They believe humanity has surrendered, but they are wrong. In the silence of the stars, in the void that stretches between the galaxies, humanity's return has already begun. And when the Zorari look up, when they finally see the human fleet emerging from the dark, they will learn the price of their arrogance. The Terrans were never dead. They were just waiting to strike. In the dark expanse of space, the Zorari Empire, unaware, still basked in their belief of superiority. They hadn't seen it coming. There was no warning, no declaration of war. Humanity's revenge didn't come in the form of a fleet. It came with the silence of a star. Suddenly, one by one, Zorari stars blinked out of existence. Like someone had flipped a switch, the once brilliant constellations turned black, disappeared into nothing. An eerie calm spread across Zorari space, punctuated only by the fading light of their dying sun systems.
Lina stood aboard the bridge of the Terran dreadnought Revenant, staring at the empty void where the Zorari systems once lived. Her hand, steady but cold, hovered over the command console, her orders clear. Activate. The order was simple, no fanfare, no grand speeches, just the sound of an entire star system ceasing to exist. The Zorari might have believed Earth was gone, but they had underestimated humanity's will to survive. Now, Earth was back, and it was only the beginning. The Revenant moved like a shadow through the vast black, unseen and unnoticed, but its wake was permanent, a message. The Zorari were next. The ancient weapon that Earth had hidden away for centuries, the dark matter envelope, was not some crude weapon of mass destruction. No, it was far more refined. A weapon of elegance. It was an erasure, not a strike. A pinpoint disappearance. Precision. The enemy would simply vanish. Lina stepped into the control room of Revenant. The screens flickered with data, and she looked over the glowing map. A cluster of Zorari planets. Once thriving, now targets. Activate the envelope, she said softly. The crew, silent, knew what that meant. The dark matter envelope was not just the death of a planet. It was a final message, a condemnation, a reminder. The very fabric of the universe would bend, folding itself into the oblivion of nothingness. The screen shifted again, showing Zorari sectors evaporating into dark, empty space. No explosions, no shockwaves, just nothing. Their cities, their monuments, their history, gone. And with it, any pretense that the Zorari could withstand what was coming. Earth had learned to make the impossible possible, and the Zorari would pay for underestimating them. News spread fast across the galaxy. The compact systems, the once proud council that had cast Earth into exile, watched. They watched as the stars blinked out one by one, and they did nothing. Their silence was deafening. The Zorari Empire had built its success on fear that Earth could not fight back. But now, Earth was the fear. The Compact had once called humanity reckless, wild. But in this silence, the Compact could feel their own guilt, fear creeping up like a shadow they could not outrun. Diplomacy, once the shield of their council, was now their weakness. They watched with eyes full of regret, realizing too late that the truth they had feared was just beginning to unfold. The Terran dreadnought Vanguard surged forward, a hulking shadow against the backdrop of a dying galaxy. The Zorari overlord, Vekthal, the mastermind behind Earth's betrayal, was now a prisoner. His hands were bound, his mighty frame forced to kneel in the dark cell of the Vanguard.
The thought of him bowing to anyone, let alone humanity, seemed impossible. Yet, here he was. Lina stood before him, unyielding. "You led your people to believe we were nothing," she said, voice low but fierce. "Now, you will see just how wrong they were." Vekthal's eyes narrowed in defiance. "You're still not strong enough. You cannot destroy us all." "You will speak. You will tell us why," Lina said, her voice cutting through the space between them. In the deep silence of the chamber, Vekthal's arrogance cracked. He began to speak, revealing the damning truth. Earth had been sacrificed by the Compact, not for crimes, but for fear of what humanity could become. Fear of Earth's potential, of its power. Too late. Humanity was already a force they could not contain. Earth had learned to make the impossible possible, and the Zerari would pay for underestimating them. News spread fast across the galaxy. The Compact systems, the once proud council that had cast Earth into exile, watched. They watched as the stars blinked out one by one, and they did nothing. Their silence was deafening. The Zerari Empire had built its success on fear that Earth could not fight back. But now, Earth was the fear. The Compact had once called humanity reckless, wild, but in this silence, the Compact could feel their own guilt, fear creeping up like a shadow they could not outrun. Diplomacy, once the shield of their council, was now their weakness. They watched with eyes full of regret, realizing too late that the truth they had feared was just beginning to unfold. The Terran dreadnought Vanguard surged forward, a hulking shadow against the backdrop of a dying galaxy. The Zerari overlord, Vekthal, the mastermind behind Earth's betrayal, was now a prisoner. His hands were bound, his mighty frame forced to kneel in the dark cell of the Vanguard. The thought of him bowing to anyone, let alone humanity, seemed impossible. Yet, here he was.
Lina stood before him, unyielding. "You led your people to believe we were nothing," she said, voice low but fierce. "Now you will see just how wrong they were." Vekthal's eyes narrowed in defiance. "You're still not strong enough. You cannot destroy us all." "You will speak. You will tell us," Lina said, her voice cutting through the space between them. In the deep silence of the chamber, Vekthal's arrogance cracked. He began to speak, revealing the damning truth. Earth had been sacrificed by the Compact, not for crimes, but for fear of what humanity could become. Fear of Earth's potential, of its power. Too late. Humanity was already a force they could not contain. Under the harsh interrogation lights, Vekthal's once imposing figure had crumbled. The walls of his pride fell, and now only truth remained. "The Compact knew," he muttered, his voice heavy with regret. "They knew the Zerari lied. Earth wasn't punished for crimes. It was punished for what it could become." He paused, as if the weight of the truth had just settled in. "They feared you. They feared your potential." Lina's heart skipped a beat. Betrayal? Yes. But the reason? Fear. Pure, unrelenting fear of humanity's capacity to rise. "And now you're going to die for it," Lina said, voice sharp. The truth hit harder than any weapon. The Zerari hadn't destroyed humanity out of justice. They had destroyed Earth because they feared what humans could do with their will. And Earth had learned to make its enemies disappear. The Vanguard loomed over Zerari Prime, a planet now shaking with the tremors of fear. The battle platforms hummed in readiness as the Terran fleet surrounded the homeworld of the Zerari. Their cities, their once proud citadels, stood silent below. Zerari Prime was within reach, within their crosshairs. Lina stood at the helm of the Vanguard, eyes cold, heart steely. The countdown to obliteration echoed across the bridge. There was no turning back now. The Zerari had been given a chance to surrender, to make things right. But they chose to fight. And now they would face the full wrath of humanity's resolve. The final moment was here, and Earth would not be denied. The moment of decision arrived. Lina stood at the precipice, the bridge silent around her. The final order? What would she choose? Vengeance or mercy? She had the power to end it all, to ensure that humanity would never be challenged again, to erase Zerari Prime from existence, and with it, the Zerari Empire. But in her heart, she felt something that weighed heavier than the destruction she could unleash. Could she really bring herself to destroy the innocent lives that remained? Could she erase an entire people, even for the greater good? The line between justice and cruelty blurred. It was a single ship, a civilian ship, an anomaly among the stars. The last remnants of the Zerari people who still believed in something other than their empire. Lina's eyes lingered on the screen. One ship, one escape. She could let them go. And so she did. The narrow escape corridor flared to life, and the ship shot into the dark, the last survivors fleeing into the unknown. Hope and horror mixed in their eyes as they knew they were the last of their kind to escape. Lina spoke softly, but with trembling resolve. Do it. The engines of the Vanguard ignited, and the final moment arrived. Zerari Prime, in all its arrogance, burned under the fire of humanity's wrath. History would remember who spared the weak and who erased the stars. The Council's chambers are silent. The once bustling room of power, where voices echoed with authority, is now a place of ghosts. Flickering holoscreens show the faces of alien leaders, their expressions pale and heavy with guilt. No one dares speak. No words of justification, no proud proclamations, just the weight of what has been done hanging in the air. The Zerari, the Rithians, and the Tanashi, the once mighty coalition that exiled Earth to the forgotten reaches of space, now sit in silence. The stars they thought they had control over are now darkening, their lights vanishing one by one. The stars that vanished were not a result of war. They were the result of humanity's vengeance, precise and final. What began as an exile has now become their deepest regret. The Council is a fractured thing, staring into a future where Earth does not answer to them. The holoprojectors flash a final image, a map of the galaxy missing several star systems. The silence stretches on. The Compact can no longer claim to be the center of the universe. They know what they have done, and they know the cost. The galaxy will remember this day. The image flickers into existence, and there she is, Lina, the once prisoner, the avenger, and now a symbol of humanity's unyielding will. Her face is calm, eerily so, as she addresses the entire council, her words calculated but cold. We offered peace, she begins, her voice a steady, piercing tone. You chose fear. Now learn from it. Her words are not an accusation, but a promise. It is not rage that fills her, it is something colder, something that could wipe out entire civilizations if necessary. The stars that are gone, erased from existence by humanity's new weapon, the dark matter envelope, are proof of what happens when a species underestimates the power of human ingenuity. The hologram lingers, her eyes unblinking. She does not look at the Zerari or the Tanashi. She does not need to. Her words are already etched into the galaxy's collective mind. The message is clear. Humanity will not bend. Humanity will not be forgotten. And no one, not even the Council, can silence it. A flood of communications pour in from the surviving members of the Compact, each one an apology, each one a plea. We were wrong, they say. We ask for peace. But Earth refuses. The message from the Terran Alliance is simple and final. Trust cannot be rewritten. The Compact has sealed its fate. There will be no talks, no treaty, no return to the table. Earth is done negotiating for survival. It no longer needs to. From Sol Station, beneath the shadow of Earth's enormous new fleet, no response is given. No gesture of goodwill.
Humanity stands apart, no longer tied to the remnants of a galactic council that once held their fate in their hands. The stars, once distant and foreign, now belong to Earth. Out of the ashes of betrayal, a new alliance is born. This one is not formed by treaties or promises, but by memory, by the shared understanding of what it means to stand against overwhelming power. The Silent Accord is not just a faction, it is a message. Worlds that were abandoned, broken, or betrayed by the Compact now find a home under this new banner. They are not bound by formalities or political niceties. They are bound by the memories of those who have been wronged and those who have fought back. It is an alliance of defiance. And though their fleets are small compared to the Compact's might, the Silent Accord has something more powerful: the knowledge that they cannot be erased. They do not need to be the biggest power in the galaxy. They only need to be the most persistent.
Earth's new emblem flies above Sol Station, an unmistakable symbol of defiance. It is a simple design, a star crossed by silence, its meaning clear to anyone who sees it. The flag is not just a declaration of what Earth has become, but of what it will never again accept: subjugation, fear, or erasure. Under this flag, Earth becomes the heart of the Silent Accord, not because they are the largest, but because they are the most resolute. The Compact trembles under its shadow, watching from afar, knowing that the galaxy is forever changed. Earth has chosen its path, and no apology, no plea can change the course now. The Compact, though fractured, survives. Barely. They still hold the remnants of power, but it is fading. They watch the Silent Accord with fear, not knowing when or if retaliation will come. They monitor, but they do not speak. There is nothing left to say. Earth is no longer part of their equation. Humanity is not just a memory, it is a force that cannot be ignored. The stars they once controlled are now slipping from their grasp, and there is no one left who can stop it. The Compact has become a shadow of its former self, and Earth's silence is the hammer that seals its fate. Galactic history splits into two: before Earth burned and after. Before Earth burned, the galaxy was ruled by the whims of the Compact, a handful of powers who decided the fates of entire civilizations. They watched from their citadels, believing themselves untouchable. But after Earth burned, everything changed. Humanity had been exiled, forgotten, erased from the equation. But they had returned, not with fleets of ships, but with the power to erase stars. And with that, they reshaped the galaxy. The Compact will fade into the annals of history, remembered as the ones who underestimated humanity's will to survive, to rise, and to never be silenced. The stars may burn, but they will never forget. The halls of the Zerari Museum of Remembrance are quiet, save for the soft hum of the air filtration system. A young Zerari child, barely old enough to understand the weight of history, steps through the vast hallways. His footsteps echo as he gazes at the relics of a war that is but a distant memory to his generation. His eyes move across the exhibits, fragments of broken weapons, shreds of ancient technologies that once forged the war, and star maps scorched with the scars of humanity's survival. The war is over. The Compact has long since fractured, and yet the past refuses to be forgotten. It lingers in the shadows, a constant reminder to those who dare to look. The child doesn't fully understand what he's witnessing, but the weight of the room presses on him. It's a feeling, a sensation that something far greater than war itself still exists.
The walls are lined with artifacts that speak volumes about a conflict no one dares forget. Here, in the Museum of Remembrance, every item tells the story of humanity's struggle against impossible odds. A shattered Zerari rifle lies beside a cracked Terran dreadnought model. A piece of alien technology, burned and corroded, rests on a pedestal, forever silent. The star maps, once precise guides to the heart of the galaxy, are now barely decipherable, fragmented, scarred by years of war and destruction. One display catches the child's attention, a plaque mounted on the wall. It reads, "Do not erase what you do not understand, for one day it may return, and it will remember." His small fingers trace the engraved words, though their meaning eludes him. The weight of those words feels heavier than the wreckage that surrounds him. The child glances up at the monument to humanity's resilience, their refusal to surrender. In this place, time feels irrelevant because the echoes of the past are far from gone. They are alive. They are waiting. Outside, a different scene unfolds beneath the shared sky. Children, human and alien alike, gather on a green field, their laughter mingling with the soft breeze. They do not know the fear that once gripped their ancestors, nor the pain that shaped their worlds. Yet, they share something that transcends species, the understanding that their future lies in unity. The lessons of the past are not forgotten, but they are no longer a source of conflict. Humanity, once a people whose existence was nearly wiped from the stars, now walks among the galaxy's greatest civilizations. Their struggles have forged a new path for others, a path built on cooperation and mutual respect. The children play, study, and dream together, a living testament to what humanity's survival has gifted the galaxy. The past may have shaped them, but it is their shared future that will define them. Above, the stars watch, unblinking and eternal. Earth's memory is not kept in the shattered remnants of war or the ruins of battlefields. No, it lingers in the quiet moments, the soft gaze of a parent as they tell their child the story of a time when humanity stood alone, when their fate was in their own hands. It is in the whispered tales of survival, the sacrifices made, and the strength to overcome all odds. The legacy of Earth is not written in the stars, but in the eyes of those who remember. In the quiet spaces between moments where fear once lived, there now lies something else: respect. The lesson humanity left behind is simple yet profound. Survival is not just about strength, but the will to never be forgotten. For in the vastness of the galaxy, where many powers rise and fall, humanity's name has endured. And one day, when the stars are still, when the galaxy quiets, the silent echo of Earth's legacy will remind the universe of the price of underestimation. It will remember, and it will never forget.